Nevertheless, we find ourselves in a moment of the life of our nations and of this region, which, I believe, borrows from a certain seriousness the meeting of today, given the challenges that are ours. And in fact, in trying to prepare this meeting, I struck to see to what extent, and probably in an unprecedented way, we have today on our Europe a challenge on all securities. And to bring together this broad Europe, beyond the European Union, to bring together all heads of state and governments and all the nations represented here, is to try to give a chance to our great continent to face the challenges that are its own through unity. And I think that unity between all of us is indispensable today, given the threats and the risks of divisions that weigh on the continent. Obviously, the first security is geopolitical security. You have expressed it one and the other. And the threats of war, of divisions that strike Europe and sometimes threaten its own unity. It is first, of course, the Russian aggression war in Ukraine. And Volodymyr knows how much here he has our solidarity. And I think that the battle that we all lead, that we carried our collectives last week with Carr, Donald, and Friedrich, the coalition of volunteers that has formed and united a lot here around this table to support Ukraine, is important. First, to get the ceasefire. And if necessary, I think the last hours have shown in this regard that Russia did not want us. And if there is no increased pressure from Europeans and Americans to obtain this result, it will not be contained. And in the end, Russia wants to resume discussions that are known, those that were held between February and May 2022, which did not prevent war crimes in Bucha and elsewhere, and which gave no result. And I do not compare any situation, but I want to insist for all of us on this. Most of humanity, China, India, the African continent, the Middle East, the Pacific, and Asia and Latin America, they look at us. Sometimes they do not fully understand what we are doing on Ukraine. Let's be clear, but we must assume and explain it. But they do not understand us at all on Ukraine when we remain silent on Gaza. What they tell us, you are strange. You tell us that our life is at stake when there is territorial sovereignty that is attacked, and you close your eyes when there is a massacre. And I do not compare anything. I know the stories. A large majority of us are part of NATO, but we also need to have a strong European pillar in NATO and to act as Europeans for our collective security. And the last weeks and the last months have shown it. And Europe, broad Europe, takes even more strength and relevance in the moment we live in, precisely to ensure its own security. The European political community is also the space that allows to build security for our populations.